Thanks for coming to my poster. We move our eyes to explore the world around us. Often, there are no explicit cues telling us what to attend to. When explicit instruction is absent, we often rely on memory to guide our attention. This can be really helpful because many of our current experiences resemble things we've encountered before. But because so many of our experiences share similar features, memories compete to guide behavior, including attention. In this project, we asked how the brain resolves competition between memories to effectively allocate attention. To study this, we came up with a novel task, a competitive, memory-guided visual search task. That's a lot of modifiers, so we'll start with the visual search part. Subjects saw a continuous stream of scene images, and their primary task was to search for small spatial distortions hidden in the scenes. On each trial, they were presented with a scene, and then they moved their eyes until they found the distortion, indicated for you here with a red asterisk because it's very hard to see. This task is very challenging, and we made it this way to encourage people to rely on memory to improve their performance. So here's where memory comes in. Prior to the search task, we taught subjects that each scene was associated with one of 8 possible spatial locations. After subjects learned these associations, they were told that they could use these memories to anticipate the spatial location of the distortion on the next trial. We reasoned that if they did that, it would improve their search performance. Now we just need the competition. We had pairs of similar scenes in this stimulus set, each of which was associated with a different location. This means that when subjects are currently viewing the scene at the top, they need to bring to mind the location associated with that scene, which we'll call the target location, and not the location associated with the similar scene, which we'll call the competitor location. So subjects should be doing something like this in their minds. In order to evaluate subjects' ability to do this, we have several trial types. On valid trials, subjects were shown an image with a distortion in the same place as the predicted target location for memory. We expect subjects to perform well on these trials if they're using memory and they've discriminated the 2 similar scenes. We also had invalid trials, where the distortion was put in the competing location. If subjects have discriminated the 2 scenes and are bringing to mind the target location like they're supposed to, they should perform worse on these trials than on valid trials. Finally, we inserted novel scenes into the task. These scenes have no memories associated with them and are thus called no prediction trials. Subjects' performance on these trials should be poor because they have no memories to guide their search. We're currently running a version of this study online where we assay people's search efficiency with the time it takes them to click the distortion. So far, we see that, in line with our current prediction, subjects are fastest in the valid condition, where they can use memory, suggesting that this task is indexing memory-guided attention in the way we designed it to. One thing you might be wondering is what kind of memories people form in the initial phase of this task, and whether they experience the memory competition that we intended them to. So far to look at this, we've been analyzing the initial training phase of the task, where subjects were asked to report the location associated with each scene in a cued recall task. We looked at the distribution of angular errors that people made during recall. Here, I've plotted these errors such that accurate trials where subjects clicked near the target location are at 0, and trials where subjects mistakenly clicked on the competitor location are at 1. Initially, we see that people mostly remember things near the target location, but they make a lot of errors, and particularly interference errors near the competitor. With learning, they're able to improve and to resolve that interference. The last thing I want to talk about is memory variability. Even at the end of training, there's still lots of variability, and we found that this variability reflects a mix of sources. For some stimuli, subjects have imprecise memories, indicated here by the spread of responses in red around the true target location in orange. For other stimuli, subject responses are precise but biased. This is an example of an attraction bias, where the subjects reliably remember the target location as closer to the competitor than it actually is. We also see the opposite bias, or repulsion bias, where subjects reliably report the target location as farther away from the competitor than it actually is. We're particularly interested in taking advantage of this item-level variability in memory for our imaging analyses. You can check out our poster for more on that.